I look back at the beginning of this year and I forget the readings, but I know within those readings, I made a New Year's resolution that as much as I could, I would evangelize to the best of my ability, to bring others to church, to bring fallen away Catholics back. That was in January. And with everything that's happened since January, I am still working on it, but things have got unbelievable. You know what I'm talking about. And then we come up with the readings today. And if I was talking to a person that knew nothing about Christ or Christianity or Catholicism, I definitely would not pick these two readings because it does not paint a very good picture of religion. If we look at Christianity, if we look at the first reading, it talks about Sodom and Gomorrah, and we all know what that represents. It says, this is God speaking through Isaiah. I've had enough of burnt rams, fat of fatlings, blood of calves. I find no pleasure. Trample my courts no more worthless offerings. In other words, God didn't want anything to do with them. And though you pray the more, I will not listen. Can you imagine God telling us that? But then the whole thought changes. Your hands are full of blood. He was talking about the idol worshipers that would sacrifice to the point of actual human babies. That was one cult. But he says, wash your hands clean, put away your misdeeds, cease doing evil and learn to do good. Make justice your aim, redress the wronged, and hear the orphan's plea and defend the widow. And we go to the New Testament. There are three thoughts in Matthew that I noticed that I'd like to maybe bring attention to. One is apostle, one is disciple, and the other is economy. Matthew starts out, Jesus said to his apostles, and in the last verse, when Jesus finished these commands to his 12 disciples, how did it change from apostles to disciples? To simply look up, apostle is one that is sent. God sent Jesus, and through Jesus, he formed the 12 apostles. And from the apostles, hopefully, we are all disciples. We are followers of Christ, of God, through the apostles. The other word is not in the gospel, but the word is economy. And when we think of economy, we often call to mind the financial aspect of our world. But the theological definition of economy is the method of God's government. In other words, God's activity within the world. God was playing a part in the Old Testament, renewing Sodom and Gomorrah, bringing people to him. Wash your hands and come clean in the Old Testament. And in the New Testament with Matthew, all these things he will bring a sword to the family, division within families. And the reason I mention economy is imagine God's playing his part in the world then and God playing his part in the world now. The COVID, the pandemic. What does God have to do in all this mess? Back then, people would believe so many different things to the best of their ability. And today we look at COVID and we have so many, in my opinion, I'm not up here, but it's like no one has an answer. No one knows anything. I've met people that consider the COVID as a big joke. They actually joked about it. I met people that are very, very serious, and anyone they get around, they consider them as having COVID for their own safety and for the safety of others. I've had people that, and I'm not alone, I'm sure many of you have had the same thing, that consider it serious, yet they go about their daily life and really don't consider how dangerous it is. And I don't know, who knows? But I'm comparing that to the thoughts, the economy of the world with Jesus. He talks about whoever receives you receives me, and whoever receives me receives the one who sent me. Sent, apostle. God sent Jesus and formed the first 12 apostles. They were sent. But who took it serious? Some took it very serious, some did not, some went about their ways. But the question for us is, regardless of the COVID, the financial economy, how serious do we take God? How serious is He within our hearts? How much do we follow Him in the midst of all the turmoil? That is the real question. Where is God in our life? And how do we deal with the economy, with the world around us, knowing God is with us and God will provide, God will be with us through it all.